I am honored to extend a warm welcome to participants of the prestigious International Mayors Summit that Moldova proudly hosts today. The resilience and stability of local communities have become undeniably evident these days. While Russia's invasion in Ukraine may seem distant, its impact extends far beyond Ukraine's borders, affecting the entire region and beyond. The European integration of Ukraine and Moldova has become a reality, and the role of local leaders has never been more crucial. Mayors are at the forefront of addressing the challenges, diverse needs, and aspirations of their communities. In the most difficult moment in 2022, the Moldovan city of Ungheni generously donated essential medicines that were indispensable for our sister town of Horișni Plavni. This act of kindness and solidarity demonstrates the true spirit of friendship between our communities. I believe that our collective efforts and cooperation help us to rebuild what has been lost and pave the way for a brighter future in the European family. May this summit serve as a catalyst for enduring partnership that will drive positive change for generations to come.
Stimată doamnă președinte, stimați reprezentanți ai autorităților locale, doamnelor și domnilor, sunt onorat pentru invitația de a mă adresa dumneavoastră astăzi. Este o ocazie specială care marchează rezultatele deosebite obținute în cooperarea la nivel de autorități publice locale între cele două maluri ale Prutului. Dumneavoastră, aleșii locali, reprezentați pe fiecare cetățean în parte. În fiecare zi munciți în beneficiul cetățenilor care v-au oferit votul de încredere. Sunteți responsabili în fața lor și le cunoașteți cel mai bine problemele și nevoile. Doamnelor și domnilor, trăim vremuri tulburi, marcate de crize și de războiul crud și nelegitim dus de Rusia împotriva Ucrainei. Efectele negative ale acestui război le cunoaștem cu toții, iar acestea nu pot fi depășite decât printr-o conlucrare mai activă la nivel regional, ajutându-ne reciproc. Împreună suntem mai puternici. Suntem aici să discutăm despre conlucrare și despre rezultatele muncii comune a autorităților locale. România și Republica Moldova sunt despărțite geografic de râul Prut, dar legate prin poduri, prin linii electrice sau gazoducte, prin istorie, cultură și limbă. Dar ceea ce ne leagă în mod deosebit sunt oamenii și comunitățile. Pentru comunitățile din Republica Moldova, România a contribuit financiar prin multiple instrumente, printre care aș aminti doar participarea la finanțarea programului Satul European, care a adus standarde europene în domeniile canalizării și infrastructurii în satele de pe malul stâng al Prutului. Prin astfel de proiecte, în contextul reformei administrației publice locale aflate în derulare, primăriile devin mai puternice, capătă experiența de a atrage investiții și fonduri europene și de a lucra la nivel local cu antreprenorii. Proiectele de cooperare dintre autoritățile locale din România și cele din Republica Moldova au presupus construirea sau reamenajarea unor parcuri. Spre exemplu, în urmă cu aproximativ un an, am participat la inaugurarea parcului din localitatea Băcioi, care a beneficiat de o contribuție semnificativă din partea municipiului Oradea și a Consiliului Județean Bihor. De asemenea, Primăria satului Puhoi, Consiliul Raional Ialoveni, Primăria Comunei Moara Vlăsiei și Primăria Comunei Brănești din județul Ilfov, România, și-au unit eforturile pentru a redeschide sala mare de concerte din Casa de Cultură din satul Puhoi. Exemplele ar putea continua, dar nu voi putea niciodată să le menționez pe toate. Important este că România a fost, este și va fi alături de Republica Moldova prin fapte și prin proiecte concrete. Vă mulțumesc!
So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back! You know, I completely understand that it's very difficult to grab yourselves after the lunch, but we have to give a huge round of applause for yourselves. Thank you, thank you. So right now, we are about to begin very important and very practical panel, so do not hesitate to ask questions, because we're gonna talk about EU membership and regional efforts. In December, the European Council has decided to open accession negotiations with Ukraine and Moldova. It is a landmark moment for the people of both countries who have consistently shown their European conviction, even as Russia continues to wage its war of aggression against Ukraine and undermine democracy in Moldova. This news symbolized a milestone for Ukraine and Moldova, but it is important to discuss here today what it means for the local and regional level, what are the new opportunities offered by the EU, and what we can learn from cities whose countries joined EU earlier. So, the panel discussion, EU membership, regional efforts, cities from EU member states showcasing how EU programs and funds help to change them and, of course, modernize. And, of course, EU representative to discuss possible existing program. Everything will be in this panel. Once again, it is very practical, so do not hesitate to ask questions, to talk with the panelists. They will answer, I think, a very important and very practical moments. So, right now, I'm inviting Taras Byk, member of board, NGO Agency for Recovery and Development, Ukraine, the moderator of the panel dedicated to EU membership. Taras, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm here. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm grateful to the organizers for putting me after the lunch, because, you know, the best way not to get asleep during a lecture is to be the lecturer, is to speak. But we will try to keep you awake as well. We will have very interesting speakers from European institutions, from local self-governance, and from NGO, who will try to give you as practical information as possible for you to use it in your communities for their development. So I would like to invite Slawomir Tokarski, who is the representative of Directorate-General for Regional and Urban Policies, DG Regio of the European Commission. The next speaker is Teofil Gherca, who represents NGO URBACT. He is director of the Secretariat. Then we have Oksana Remiga, who is Senior Loan Officer at the European Investment Bank. And representatives of local self-governance. This is Ciprian, Ciucu, who is mayor of the 6th district of Bucharest, from Romania, and another Romanian representative, Mihai Jurca, who is the mayor of Oradea. Last but not least, Piotr, who is represented deputy mayor of the city of Częstochowa in Poland. You are welcome. We want the audience to leave this panel, you know, with very practical examples, with links, with people, with knowledge, how to go to return to their cities, to their communities, and make them develop. Mr. Tokarski, can you tell more about what the European Union offers, DG Regio in particular, for the development of local communities?
Well, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Well, we offer a lot, but maybe something that is coming to mind immediately is Interreg programs. Interreg programs, and I think Moldova and Ukraine are making part of 7 of them, are something that has been invented quite a long time in Europe, almost 35 years ago. And it's something which is maybe the best example of European idea, because it is about working together, cooperating together across the borders. And it's very simple, because what you need to apply is just a partner from the other side of the border, the idea, and the element of cooperation in the project. It could be anything, starting from, I don't know, small wastewater treatment, because you two are along the same river, a festival of arts, exposing culture on both sides of the border, tourist offer, cycling path, whatever. And what is also very unique to government is that the partner, Ukrainian or Moldovan, is treated within the program exactly the same way as the member states partner. So this is something which is very precious. Now, these programs now, they have altogether about 1 billion euro, and 150 extra was transferred from the programs with Russia and Belarus. And they will be launching calls in different moments of time to which you can apply. Now I look a little bit what is happening so far. I see that there was already one call for proposals done by Poland-Ukraine program, where actually there were 115 applications from the Ukrainian side. And the success rate is 20%, more or less. So 20-something managed to get the funding. There are two more programs which open call for proposals right now. One is Black Sea program, which is covering mostly southern Ukraine, and which will be open until 28th of June. So please have a look at Black Sea Interreg program, and you will see all the conditions. And there is also something which I find particularly interesting. It is Interreg Europe. That's a very special program. That's a program for everybody, for the member states and for the neighboring member states, where Ukraine became a member together with Moldova just couple of months ago. The call for proposal is open, which means that if anybody of you either want to join an existing project or apply together with partners from European Union for another project, you are free to do it. It is quite simple, it is quite easy. Just look at Interreg Europe step-by-step explanation. These are basically projects regarding their cooperation with partners from the European Union. It can be anything, it is open. It just needs to have this element of innovation, of innovative practices, be it social, be at the level of local government or civil society. And this call is still open as well. So I also encourage you to apply.
Thank you so much. We will return to you with more specific questions, but one question, where do people find information about your programs?
Well, look at Interreg site and you will find everything there.
So just Google Interreg and this is the great source of information. Thank you so much. Mr. Gherca, what can you tell about your experience, how civil society can be engaged in help and development of their communities?
Yes, thank you for giving me the floor. So I'm representing a program, one of this program that my previous speaker spoke. So all in all, there are 86 programs, Interreg programs, and our program, which is called URBACT, has a particular focus because we are working just with cities. So we are serving cities in Europe. And then we are doing this for the last 20 years, mainly by creating networks of cities on different subjects. So there is a bottom-up approach because there is no thematic call. Cities are selecting their topic of cooperation. They are bringing partners together, and then we are supporting them implementing the project for a long duration of 2 or 3 years. And then the opening of the program to countries from this part of region, to Ukraine, Moldova, a few months ago, in our case has been also presented by another opening to the countries from the Western Balkans already 2 years ago. So because we are truly believing that this journey is part of your journey to integrate the European Union. It's important to know that cities are important stakeholders and players of European integration. And then our program has built an expertise on supporting city hall administration in dealing with different topics related to EU policies which are in impact on the city. And then we have seen in the last 2 years that a lot of cities from Western Balkans, the 5 candidate states, have been taking part in our projects, and they are really doing some great projects with their partners from other European cities. A second idea perhaps is that there is an added value to have cooperation, for territorial cooperation for soft projects. Of course, oftentimes at local level, it's important to have hard project investments, and it's important to have such kind of investments. But there is an added value to have cooperation, and this is how we are building Europe, by creating strong partnership with other cities, with your colleagues in other city hall. And then we are doing this for the last 20 years, and then still we have in our program important cities like capitals, metropolis, which are not coming to us for money because we don't give so much budget, but they are coming really to have cooperation with other cities from entire Europe, because by mutual learning, they can progress even those lighthouse cities. And then the last idea is, I think it's also we have seen from the program, from the previous generation of the program, is that money is not enough in order to build development and to have resilient local communities. Of course, it's needed. I mean, without money, we cannot build development, but it's just one important factor. You need to have strong leadership, political leadership, and we have seen in the morning how how inspiring are the mayors from Ukraine, especially, but also from Moldova, building this really resilience and finding their way in building up this path to development. But also, besides political leadership, what is important is also to bring all people which are relevant at the table, to have a participatory approach, to build development with other people which are making the city, private sector, NGOs, academy. And in our URBACT program, we are doing all the time for each project, there is a local group which is bringing together all the actors from the city which are important for the project. And then they are working in the local language, and the outputs of the project are in the local language. And then besides this participatory approach with multi-level stakeholders, it's also important to invest in your staff administration from the city hall, because you need to have strong public administration, civil servants which are believing in what you are doing. And then in our program, we are investing, we are doing a lot of capacity building for the staff of the cities which are part of the program. So all this, I think, give a strong image about why there is an advantage to have cooperation, to build projects with other cities. And then I'm looking forward to have your question during the panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, especially about your great message that people and networks of people are more important than money. Money are important, but nothing will happen without great leadership and networks of people. Now my next question is to Ms. Remiga. What European Investment Bank can offer to the communities, especially now for Ukraine and Moldova, because quite often, especially for small communities, there is a great fear about taking loans, because they quite often cannot handle the loan. Because of the exchange rate changes. How do you fight those fears, and how do you cooperate with the local communities?
Thank you very much, first of all, for the opportunity to talk to mayors of both countries, Ukraine and Moldova. I would like probably to start mentioning that EIB is a lending arm of European Union, is the biggest financier in the world. So multi-partners financing. So before the war, our exposure to Ukraine was at the level of 7 billion euros. And many of those programs are resuming its operations, which means that after the discussion with our partners, we changed the profile, requirements, and these resources are still available. Probably I will address your points about the kind of difficulties to deal with our loans, and then we'll mention more specifically what kind of programs we can offer. So speaking about the difficulties and the fears, we have the number of municipalities which have, obviously bigger municipalities who have an experience of working with international finance organization, and this experience is positive. I would say that in addition to our programs, we are always offering technical assistance, both at the central level and at the municipal level, which is helping to shape the program, all documentation required, the process required to implement the projects in a way that is acceptable for EIB. So that's, we are helping, in fact, municipalities to manage our programs. Our resources are highly concessional, so our offer is the best offer in the market. And plus, on top of this, we are working very closely with the European Commission specifically to provide blending financing. So combination of loans and grants, investment grants. Speaking about the specific programs which are operational now and which will be, I hope, available very soon. So first of all, our recovery programs. I do believe that even in this audience, we have mayors, representatives of cities which benefited from this program. The loan was provided to the central government and then distributed to municipalities as subvention. So we have also energy efficiency in public buildings loan program, which is providing sub-loans to municipalities to implement renovations in public buildings, hospitals, kindergartens, schools, public administration buildings. Well, we have requirements regarding energy efficiency criteria, but at the same time, the loan rather open to include other measures, well, including the construction of bomb shelters if needed, including the other renovation which is required for the buildings. So we also developed, jointly with the government of Ukraine, we developed the pipeline of the programs, which are literally waiting for the signature of Ukrainian side in order to make these resources available for municipalities in particular, because those programs are going to support the recovery of critical infrastructure. And again, this is the next phase of recovery program, which in fact allows to implement sub-projects in each sector related to municipal life. And this program including the social housing, so the construction of housing or reconstruction of buildings to provide housing for internally displaced people. So we have also a water recovery program, which provides resources to specifically to the water sector. Well, actually, I'm working on the housing programs, and the one which again is waiting for the signature of Ukrainian side in order to start disbursing money is energy efficiency repair of residential buildings affected by the war. So the eligible buildings, the money will be provided through municipalities. So these resources will cover the renovation measures of multi-apartment buildings which suffered from war. Well, while vouchers, government vouchers program will support the renovation of individual flats. I will mention another program which is now in making, and probably I will stop at this stage to allow other speakers to join our discussion. But this program is very interesting and important. It's actually the social and affordable housing in Ukraine, which maybe the idea might be interesting for Moldova as well, because in principle it aims to finance well, again, jointly with the EU investment grant, to finance the construction of new buildings, which will be provided to the vulnerable groups of populations, including IDPs, including former combatant, including the families with a low income on the affordable conditions, I would say. So this program is under development. We are very much in line with European Commission efforts to support the reform of housing sector in Ukraine. And so we are providing the policy advisory package to this program. Maybe at this moment I will stop, and I'm looking forward for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we had three speakers who represented, we can say, the supply side, the offer, what the European institutions can offer. And now we would like to hear the demand side, so the people who used these opportunities. And I would like to ask representatives of three cities to talk about positive sides as well as potential challenges which can arise from cooperation with EU funds. Mr. Ciprian, Ciucu, about your experience of Bucharest.
Thank you. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about the District 6. District 6 is situated in the west side of Bucharest. It's the largest district. We have around 400,000 inhabitants. And we have our own local council, and I'm a directly elected mayor. We have our own budget, and we can directly access different funds. Grants or loans from development banks as EIB, which is one of our partners, because we have projects financed by EIB. So, first of all, Romania, being a member of the European Union, has a wide range of financing. We are in a very fortunate position. So we can program our development based on our local, so our budget, just let me give you some figures, is around 300 million euros for District 6 only. In 1/3 of this budget is from grants from different operational program of the European Commission or different funds that we access from development banks. We also have national funds, governmental funds, especially in environment area. But the key issue for success, of course, maybe this is something very well known, but this is it, is the administrative capacity. This is, if you don't have it, I've been elected the mayor 3.5 years ago. I found the mayor with 7 projects, 6 employees in this small service. None of those projects being hard. They're more soft projects, yeah, but not hard projects, not investment projects, not building infrastructure projects. Of course, immediately I reorganized the mayory, the institution, and now we have 27 employees writing projects together with consultants, because of course we cannot only operate with our own forces, we have to have good consultants. What I've done, I prepared for 2 years, I don't know how to say this in English, framework agreement, yeah, like a contract, you know, to have for long time services for designing project, writing project, applying, monitoring the implementation, and of course send a request for payments. So this means that you have to have the right people. Of course, it's hard to find right people, because I know our colleagues mayors in the room, they are not in the position of Bucharest, because we have people that we can attract, we can hire. It's more difficult. But I don't know, this must be some suggestion for the government to have a fund dedicated to consultancy companies that mayors can go and apply for this funding and to pay for consultants, because without consultants it's very hard. All the development banks have this incredibly hard and complicated procedures. They are requesting for environment studies, social studies, economic study, feasibility study, different types of studies. Without, you cannot go on without. So you have to prepare all these things. It's about gathering data, having people analyzing data, writing reports that should be approved, of course, by the committee and different functionaries of the development banks. We have the EIB, of course. We also have I don't know the name in English is BERD. I know the acronym in Romanian is the Development Bank for Regional Development. Yeah, that one. And we also work with a smaller bank. This is the competition, but is much smaller. It's about the Development Bank of the Council of Europe, because we wanted to work with them and finance a hospital. I'm building a hospital in Sector 6, medium-sized hospital, and I've been working with this smaller bank because their procedure, at least I thought, would have been much easier to go through, but it is kind of the same. It's kind of the same, and now they approved the loan. It's a project for 140 million euros. Half of the money is coming from the Development Bank of the Council of Europe. They approved it. We are going to sign the contract next month. We also, I think we are the first mayor in Eastern Europe, or at least in Central and Eastern Europe, that we have this Invest EU facility, yeah, because the European Commission is going to I don't know the word in English. It's going to, yeah, it's going to vouch. It's going to kind of bring more security to the funds, to the bank. That means that our projects are very well qualified and prepared. The range of projects that we are working that we developed in the last 3 years, and this is going to be my final remarks because I want to give some specific examples, is of course energy efficiency at NZEB standards of public buildings. So we have more than let's say right now 25 schools that are going to have this NZEB standard. We have charging for electric cars. We have this energy efficiency plus for these building blocks that we have as in Chișinău and maybe also in Poland, because in communist we used to have this type of blocks, so we have to make them efficient. And of course we have a lot of projects in transforming brownfields, former industrial area, into public spaces and into parks. So the conclusion is, the key for success in our case, enough administrative capacity, that means enough employees that are trained, that have experience. So headhunting is very important to have the right people in your institution. Second, good consultants. And third, be patient and provide all the things that they request.
Thank you so much. I see your colleagues completely agree. And this is something we see in Ukraine, because we were fighting to keep recovery as decentralized as possible, so that we do not create the centralized monster that is in charge of recovery of everything. But then we saw the problem of local capacity. And now what we are working on is a capacity building on local level, so that local communities have capacity to implement those projects. And yes, experience of Romania and Poland are extremely useful for us. Mr. Jurca, I would like to ask about your experience of your city. I know you have a presentation, right?
I don't have a presentation, but Sorry. First of all, good afternoon. I don't have a presentation. I just have a small video. I don't need that could depict what I will tell you.
Right.
I'm from a city in Romania, located on the western border of the country, 220,000 inhabitants. It's we have been blessed. The city has changed drastically because of European funding. There's no question about it. I'm here on this stage because I have a good team of EU funding, and because we've done a lot of tremendous good things with EU funding. So there's no question about it when it comes to EU funding, that EU funding wisely, it will develop your country, your city, and it will create a better life. And I'll go into some specific examples just so you have an understanding of where we come. In 2007 or before 2007, Oradea was not very different than what Moldova or Chișinău or other cities in Moldova are today. Nowhere near. But in 17 years, our landscape has changed drastically. It's impossible to imagine that we could have done this without EU funding. It is definitely impossible to do it without EU funding. As Mr. Ciucu said, our investment budget has increased 10 times in the last 17 years. So we started investing in the critical, and this is one of our key learnings. We started investing in critical infrastructure that would give us the possibility to attract also private investment. A mairie or a public institution is not developing a city. The city is developed by its citizens and by the companies that come to the city. So what we did is we created roads, we improved the quality of life of our citizens. So for example, Oradea has the second largest district heating system in the country after Bucharest. Today we can talk in Oradea about 95% of it being brand new. We don't have shortages of heat or hot water in the apartments. We have a ring road, we have tunnels, bridges, we have industrial parks. But because one other thing that we did at the beginning, invest in infrastructure for industrial parks so that companies could come to Oradea. A city, as I said, is based on its companies. And if you create infrastructures that will create jobs, then it's a recipe for success for sure. Imagine that Oradea has, you probably saw it, has tremendous architecture. We put a lot of investment besides infrastructure into renewing our old buildings, our city centers, creating public areas, pedestrian areas, parkings, and so on. These were the driving engine for attracting tourism. Again, something that would give us possibility to have financing for development once European funding has been depleted. And it's coming. Because of course Ukraine and Moldova need it, and they should get it. So we need to be prepared to have our own source of financing for investment to carry on when others will need it, as we did. I wouldn't go into very detailed examples, but as a tactic, what we saw critical in developing a community and attracting EU funding was the vision, the plan. The first thing you need to do is to have a clear vision. And from 2007 to 2012, our only strategy and plan was to develop infrastructure. Infrastructure that would be good for companies. Companies that will create jobs. So you need to have a good plan, you need to have a good idea of what your strengths are, and always invest where you'll also get more besides the investment itself. The second part are teams, and Mr. Ciucu has well mentioned, you need capacity, you need people to write projects, and you divide them into sectors. You have your own team if you have a big enough community, and you have enough work for them to have, which is specialized in writing the financing request, which is specialized in the system of European financing. And then you have the technical team, which are usually consultants, architects, technical teams that do the feasibility study. They do the technical part. So this combination is critical for attracting EU funding. And one thing that we always say, and I have to be bluntly honest with you, in Romania everybody says, when you're talking to European funding, is very, very bureaucratic. And it's not the case. We have to be honest. And I'm saying this because you have the chance to not repeat the same mistakes we did. So bureaucracy in Maine has come from our government, not from the European Union. You have the chance to reduce bureaucracy as a country in accessing EU funding, but also ensuring transparency, ensuring rule of law, but we put more hurdles than we should have. And it was more difficult to absorb EU funding. We still did it, but with a lot more effort. You can change that and you can learn from our mistakes. What we can do and what we have done for communities in Moldova is try to do experience exchange, and to invite people over to see for their own eyes what is possible and to prepare them for what will come. I don't see a future without Moldova in the European Union. You need to get familiar with what EU funding means. We have two sisters communities in Moldova, and one was signed yesterday with Stăuceni, a community next to Chișinău, and we have another one with Băcioi, the mayor is here. Two very, very good mayors, and I have to stress this, very good. And with limited resources, they did a lot. What we did is try to help them by financing or co-financing some of their projects, but also by giving them support in terms of capacity. Whenever it's requested, we offer it. For example, we attracted 75 million euros for the development of our airport. which is critical in the development stage we are in now. And today, we signed a contract for operations with a Romanian-Moldavian company, High Sky. So starting this autumn, the Romanian-Moldavian company will have operations from a newly built airport, all done through EU funding. I'll close my remarks, and I'm available for any questions you have. I'll close my remarks by saying, and I cannot stress this enough, how deeply appreciative we are of the mayors from Ukraine and from Moldova, because they do a tremendous job. They give quality public service to people in precarious situation, in far worse situation than we are. And I would like to invite all of my teams here to understand what hardship is, and then when we go back, I think we would be much more better. So my respect to all of the mayors from Ukraine and from Moldova for what they are doing. And I would like to see you in 2 years, in 4 years, the quicker, the better in the European Union. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jurca, do you have any partner cities from Ukraine?
We have a partner city from Ukraine also, Ivano-Frankivsk,
okay,
which we supported, but we can do more. And this is something that I have to admit and have to work on. Mm-hmm. But there's not enough thank for the people that are working under hardship to give.
Yes, I'm sure there are Ukrainian mayors who will approach you and you will have more partner cities by the end of the day. Thank you so much. Last but not least, the Polish experience. It was very useful in terms of European integration because they created very strong capacity in terms of working with future EU funds. And I would like to invite Mr. Grzybowski to tell more about the experience of Częstochowa.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have to say that you should listen to the guys from Romania and the guy from URBACT, because I think they said half of this what I was preparing. The topic of our summit is networking, joint venture project, and so on. And in the context of European founding, I have to say that my city belongs to a few association of municipalities, yeah? And thanks to that, we have access to the common European urban policy. Yeah? 5% of European funding is only for the cities, but the cities which are cooperating. And I think that this cooperation is one of the added value of European funding. For example, and this association are all on a level of sub-region, region, national, and also international. And you have to prepare the same, I think, in Moldavia or in Ukraine now. Okay, we should be in the schedule, so let me use the smartphone. Thanks to the European projects, the city development dynamic has increased 5 times. Okay, as Częstochowa, but it took a lot of work. I would divide it in 3 parts. First, people, as you said. I was studying European integration and regional development in 2004, and in the year in which we joined the European Union, only 50 people graduate this specialization in whole country, 50 people. For example, in my city, we have to raise a team of 40 people just for European founding in one small city, no, maybe middle city, okay? So don't do the same. Yeah, you have to prepare the people area. It's first thing. Second is change of the structure. Not only in your city hall, but also in the voivodeship, in department, in the district. There are few new duties which you will have, okay? As fundraising, project implementation, all the stuff with settlement, and finally, internal audit and control. Another structure is guys which are responsible for organizing public tenders. Because if you get European funding, everything has to be clear. Everything has to be transparent, okay? Next thing is social consultation and cooperation with other stakeholders. This is the necessary element. When you choose the project, first, you have to speak with all the stakeholders. As a universities, I don't know, employer cooperation, NGOs, and so on. It's hard, yeah, because we are talking about transformation, and for all of us, it means some kind of progress, but it's also the change of the structure, the change of the process, and it is really hard and tough. But one of the benefits, I have to say, is that those projects, thanks to those projects, we also improve the level of public administration in general, in the cities, in the districts, and also in the country. So I think that we all in Poland keep the fingers crossed for the municipalities from Moldavia and from Ukraine. We'll be happy to help you. And I think the same, that we will meet in a few years in European Union. We are waiting for you.
So are we. Thank you so much for very practical recommendations. Now we are open for questions. I invite the audience to give the questions because I have quite many, but audience first, as we talk to people first. Anyone? Okay, yes.
Hello, everyone.
Please present yourself and say to whom you're addressing the question.
Thank you. My name is Maxim Gretunik. I am the mayor of Birința city. It's Sinjurei district, the heart of Europe, by the way. Dear mayors, I just wanted to ask you a question. How long did it take for you to create a team in your administration, in your city hall?
You mean team in general, or team responsible for funding, for filing for those funding?
I mean team in general and responsible for your funding.
Okay, thank you.
I'll start. Around 1 year. First, the most important is, so you have to know very well the law under which you operate. I've been fortunate because previous being a mayor, I've been the head of National Civil Service Agency. And I knew like everything about reorganizing and rewriting staff positions in local administration and in government. And when I came to be a mayor, four of my former employees came with me to the mayory. And I reorganized. We have around 3,000 employees. So we are a big mayor. So I reorganized all the subordinate institutions. We have 10. I closed 2 of them institutions because we've had this analysis and functional analysis, and they had no object to operate. So I just eliminated them, and I included their scope of work into other institutions. And I started recruiting. Yeah, and I recruited, as I said, being in Bucharest is much easier because I recruited from national agencies, people that are in the execution positions, being head of different departments and head of different departments of different governmental institutions, became directors. So I kind of changed the entire middle management, yeah, but based not on political affiliation, but on competencies. So I've done that, and that was strategic for me to do, because I said, okay, if you have been delivering to the city, the former mayor should have won the election. But if not, I think I need two people. So it's more important for me, the most important thing is the attitude, not the knowledge, because smart people can gather rapid knowledge, they can be trained, but the attitude is very much important, because they are they have to be driven to deliver. So recruitment process, reorganizing a recruitment process, which was very kind of strategic for me. I had this mindset when I became a mayor, to bring to the change management, to create this enough expertise and have enough people that can start and provide change. So I reorganized the institutions, most of them. I eliminated 2 institutions, and I started recruiting, not based on only on competition. In my case, of course, we designed competitions was for a lot of position, but the best people that I could gather, that I could have, was from, they're already working as civil servants, and I just attracted them like, in private company. Mm-hmm. So that took, let's say, 8 months, 9 months, and after that, I focused on team building. I've been a trainer before, and consultant trainer, and before being a mayor. Mm-hmm. So we go together, I don't know, in the mountainside. Of course, everybody pays for his own accommodation, but we are doing strategic planning and strategic budgeting, and we are talking policies of the District 6, first of all. Second, it is very important to encourage them to form their own teams. And one of the most important things, to work together, because as I said, I have 10 institutions coordinated by the mayor, but most of the services cannot be delivered or organized independently. So they have to communicate to among each other and know how can one help the other, because they used to be in competition together, because everybody wanted to be the best seen by me. And I told them, it's not important how I see you. It is important for me to see you that you're together, basically.
So sounds like you are creating dream team, basically. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's about leadership. It's about networking, but it's easier probably in capital cities. And yes, we would like to hear experience of non-capital cities.
One thing about this question: if you want to have a full point of view, you have to remember or understand that Poland or Romania and other countries joined European Union in the end of the period of European budget. So we have last 2 years of period which was ended 2006, I think. So we have 2 years to learn everything about the European founding, develop this team, because you can create it in half of a year or in a year, but you have to develop it. And in these 2 years, during these 2 years, we develop our teams. And in the next budget, which start in 2007, we have a full, powerful teams, which was really good. But I don't know if you will have the same situation. I don't know if you agree.
The next budget cycle is until 2027, correct? So Moldova and Ukraine should join in 2025, right? Fair enough. Yes, Mr. Jurca?
So the process for us never stops. You always add people to your team, you always increase your capacity of your team. But to answer your question directly, you need 2 types of teams. You need a core team that you deploy immediately, and then you try to add. The sooner the better. It may work in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, depending on the context, but the sooner the better. One other thing that we learned is that once you have the core team, usually the management, the heads of the units and so on. So once you have that, and there's a different strategy, vision, there's a different rhythm, you'll find that working with what you have can be actually a good thing. You'll find good people in the institutions you have, but they weren't challenged by the context. Usually we behave according to the context we're in. So if the context was less proactive, less business-oriented or project-oriented, people were not acting. But once you change the dynamics, you'll see that you have really good people already on the team. You just need to search, look for them, and give them the responsibility. So it should happen with the core team. It should happen as fast as possible, months. With the wider team, build it within the institution, but also from outside. And it should take the least amount of time possible, the better. And you never stop. You always try to add people to your teams. You always try to increase capacity. And once you build trust in the community, you will have people coming to you. You'll have people saying, okay, I want to work in this team. I want to work for this mayor because I see he's doing he understood what he needs to do. So it will be easier to recruit once you already have some results.
Thank you so much. We have time for one final question, and I see the gentleman in the middle.
Nu știu dacă se aude. Primarul municipiului
Mayor of Jedinets and the chair of the network of cities and municipalities in the Republic of Moldova. A question for our Romanian colleagues and also European colleagues. A challenge for us and for the Romanians is the area around the border. There are 4 counties on your side which are eligible: Vaslui, Galați, Iași and Botoșani, and the area of Moldova up to Nistru. Don't you think that this area should be expanded on the Romanian side, at least until the river Siret? I do have good cooperation with the mayor of Suceava, of Piatra Neamț, of Bacău. And we should try to lobby. We should convince our European partners to expand the cross-border area with Moldova. We would have to gain things, and the Moldovans, and you would also gain a lot of things, because sometimes we have issues.
Should be extended more than the 4 counties that we have across the border, because it is difficult to find partners and just to work again and again and again in the same cities. Sometimes is kind of redundant. So I can answer this because it happens that I've been one of the team leaders, and I don't know, Mr. Josan is here, is there. With me and Mr. Josan, the guy there with the pink shirt, we designed the former cross-border program. I've been a consultant, not a politician back then, and we together wrote the Romanian-Ukraine and Romanian-Moldova cross-border program. I can answer you that we have to convince the European Commission and the DG Regio, because they are the ones that are defining the rules. For instance, one of the suggestions, if I may, also the capital cities should be eligible, because, for instance, Bucharest, with 7 mayors, the general mayor and the district mayors, has a lot to offer, and the disponibility to offer to the Republic of Moldova in terms of capacities, in terms of even we can put our own money into the program as co-financing, which I'm willing to do. We are partnered with one of the districts of Chișinău, Buiucan. We are partnered. We have this înfrățire, twinning cities project with Cahul. So, if the European Commission would agree to extend the regulations, to modify a little bit the regulations, sectors of Bucharest or even Bucharest can contribute also with funds, not only with know-how. So that will be a very good idea.
Mr. Tokarski, what do we have to do to convince European Commission for this proposal?
Well, I am responsible for those regulations, but I have to say that from the beginning of Interreg, there is this tension between those who think that cross-border programs could really focus on cross-border areas, that is the distance more or less 80, 100 kilometers from the border, because the amount of money is limited, and if you want to have an effect, then it is better to concentrate, and those who think that indeed we should extend. And every 7 years, when we define the borders of the program, there is of the program, this discussion is taking place. So I think it's very difficult, frankly speaking, right now, because the regulations are in place. We can still think about this something for the future, but there is one possibility. There is possibility to have somebody in the project who is from outside of the program area, if indeed this beneficiary brings something that the other from the area cannot. So there is possibility to have a partner who is from outside the area.
Thank you so much. Before we finish, I would like to ask all our speakers to give final recommendations, just one sentence of recommendation for Ukrainian and Moldovan communities, how to be successful in terms of European integration. Let's start with, for this time, from the left side, Mr. Grzybowski.
Okay, so as I said, the networking. You should establish a new sub-region, region association, and still looking for the partners in several countries.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jurca?
It's really difficult to give suggestions. Well, what I can say is what I've learned. So to do it as fast as possible, to do it as quick as possible. And of course you'll make mistakes, but getting the funding is critical because it will give you room to breathe. It will give you possibilities to grow further.
Thank you. And become partners with Oradea, I suppose. Yes, Mr. Ciucu?
It's very difficult for me to imagine myself in the shoes of a mayor from Ukraine. Yeah, because you have to design reforms, you have to organize public services under bombing. So I cannot comprehend. I cannot understand how it is to be a mayor in Ukraine these times. Mm-hmm. So I just can hope that the war will be final, will end soon, and Ukraine will win, of course. For the colleagues in Moldova, yes, this is what I also support. Networking, being in contact, work together with the Association of Municipalities, because the mayor from Medinets is the head of the Association of the Municipalities. I'm the spokesperson from the municipalities of Romania. I'm the board. So increasing contacts, stay in touch, and exchange experience. Common projects should be the key for success.
Thank you so much. Ms. Remiga?
Probably a few words from me. Well, don't be afraid of difficulties. So if you start doing something, if you start to implement and you have the good intentions, you will manage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gherca?
On my side, I think, I will turn around the question, because what we should do in order to allow Moldova and Ukraine to be member of EU, I think, it's also for us to adapt. We cannot have one size fits all. We cannot have one program with the same rules, same objective for all countries. Now with Europe, which is much, much bigger, with Western Balkans, with Ukraine and Moldova. So I think now when we are going to start preparing the new generation of the programs, we should embed this in our programs and to allow really different rules, different objectives, different approaches, flexibility at the level of the program, in order really to allow and to have also much more chances from regions from those two countries to be able to be part of the programs and also of Europe.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Tokarski?
Well, come to Europe with your people. Don't forget them on the way. Use this phase, the project building, to discuss with citizens, to build a community, not only with those who are well educated and speaking languages, but with everybody. Because otherwise you will create the impression that Europe is not for everybody, and Europe is for everybody.
Thank you so much. I see nobody is sleeping in the audience, therefore I think our panel was a success. Let's thank to all our speakers. Thank you so much.